Today we'll learn how to move our bodies and stay healthy, all from the comfort of our chairs. Robin, who is already sitting in a chair in a white exercise studio, will lead us through some simple and fun exercises. She'll stand and sit and punch the air. I know I need to move more, so I can't wait for today's workshop, Wellness for Geeks Who Sit.
Hi there, welcome to Wellness for Geeks Who Sit. Now, if you and I have met before, you might realize that my voice sounds very different than it usually does, and that's just because I'm just getting over what seems to be laryngitis, thankfully not COVID, and I had to get this video in time for all of you. So, if you don't know who I am, my name is Robin Warren, and I'm the founder of a wellness community called Geek Girl Strong. I founded this community, which started off as a health coaching business in 2015 after attending a lot of geek girl style meetups. Excuse me. After attending a lot of geek girl style or geek girl themed meetups and a lot of geek girl themed meetups like Geek Girl Brunch. And during that time, I was a public school PE and health teacher who had really started seeing that when my students got to about middle school age, usually around the 7th grade, that a lot of my female students or students who were assigned female at birth had started seeming like they felt as if they had to make a choice between being the pretty girl or the tomboy who still enjoyed PE or the book smart kid who would rather sit in the bleachers and read their book than get a passing grade in PE. And as someone who kind of falls in between all of those things, who is a self-proclaimed nerd and geek who loves spending time working out, who was on lots of different sports teams, I wanted my students to be able to see an example of that, not just in the gymnasium with them when I would, allow for them to read on their floor spots until it was time to begin, and give them other ways of being able to see that it's okay to be a complex person, and that it's okay to be a complex person. So that's why I really enjoy going to and presenting at conventions like Geek Girl Con, where I'm bringing wellness and fitness into a space where there may be a lot of people who don't feel as if they have a space in wellness and fitness. And personally, I think that everyone does, which is why I do the work that I do. But rather than expecting for people to kind of bolster up the courage to enter a gym or a yoga studio or things like that come along with a lot of feelings, bringing all of those ideas and experiences to them. So really quickly, just a little bit about me now that you know about Geek Girl Strong and where we got our start. I have a bachelor's of science in physical education, a master's of science in education and health education. I'm also a certified health coach through the American Council on Exercise, and an accredited pole dance teacher, as well as a whole bunch of other things. And I'm really happy to be able to present this year, even though we're not able to physically get together. So we are going to go through a whole bunch of different movements in a seated position. Sometimes I'll stand up in order to do some of these. If that's not available to you, that's totally okay. I will try to present modifications wherever possible. But if you end up having any questions about any of the movements that I do during this presentation, please by all means feel free to reach out through the information that I'll provide, the contact information I'll provide at the end of this workshop. So We're gonna get started with our arms, and we're going to start off by doing some little punch jabs. And I don't want you to worry too much about your form. What I really want for you to think about is making sure that you don't completely throw out your elbow. So you just want to keep really soft elbows. It shouldn't feel like it's locked out, just in order to keep your elbow safe. Other than that, I just want for you to move and try your best, okay? So and excuse me if I clear my throat or take a sip of some tea during the workshop. It's just to try to make all of this sound better in your ears. All right, we're gonna start off with some front jabs. So I want you to bring your arms up like this, just like that. And then we're just going to jab right in front of us like this, 1 and 2, or 1 and 2. All right, we're gonna try 10. Are you ready? Go. 1, 2, keep going. 6, 7, 10, good. Next up, we're gonna take that same jab and we're gonna go up over our heads. So we're gonna go 1 and 2. Ready? Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. You should start to feel a little bit warm in your upper body. Next up, we're going to alternate. So we're going to go 2 in front and then 2 over your head. All right, and we're going to try this for 20. Ready? Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Good. So it really doesn't take that long in order to just get your arms all warmed up before doing anything else. Next up, we're going to take our arms out into a T, and we're going to do some little circles going forward like this. Just really tiny, like you're stirring something at the end of your fingertips. And then we're going to do the same thing going back. Ooh. Good. And while you're here, you might start to feel your shoulders really warming up, or those muscles on top of them. We're almost there. And relax it down and shake it out. So those muscles on top of your shoulders, these caps here, are called your deltoid muscles. And those might feel a little bit warm right now. All right, next up, we are going to do some T waves. So this will feel like a little bit of a stretch in your wrist, maybe the rest of your arm, and we're going to do what's called some nerve gliding up and down your arm into the middle of your hand. So your arms go straight out from your shoulders, and you're going to pull your fingertips towards your shoulders. From here, you're going to wave forward and wave back. Good. Keep going. Forward and back. Do that a few more times. If you're not really feeling this, try to make sure that you're pulling back. Pull your fingertips towards your face or your shoulders. One more time. Go all the way back. And shake it out. Good job. From here, we're going to start to work on our forearms and our hands, the muscles in them. Excuse me. So, a good reason to do this, especially for people who use their hands a lot for any creative activities or video games or anything like that, is because we can't exactly strengthen our joints per se. Usually not without some sort of medical intervention, but what we can do are strengthen the muscles that support that joint. So if I wanted to work on my knee, I'd work on the muscles of my thigh and my shin/calf area. So all of the muscles that are supporting a joint. So what we're going to do in order to do that is we're going to open and close our hands really wide and really tight into a fist really quickly. So we're going to start with our hands up over our heads. And then we're just going to open and close. Ready? Open, close, and keep going really fast. See if you can sit up nice and tall, just like that. And then bring your arms out to a T. Do the same thing, hands facing down, like you're dropping something over and over again, nice and wide and nice and tight. Then drop them down to your sides. You should still feel this in your forearms, but it should feel a little bit better in your shoulders. And then send them back out. And then now it's back into the rest of your arm, and send it over your head. And we're almost there. And bring it all down and shake it out. Good job. So again, you should feel that all in here, as well as maybe in your hands and your fingers, and it's good for kind of strengthening your wrists. Next up, we're going to do a couple of things that call for standing up out of your seat. If this isn't available to you and you have a chair that has handles or armrests, then you'll be able to push off of those instead of what I'm doing for these chair push-ups. So I'm just going to stand up. And I'm going to stand in front of my chair. And from here, I'm going to place my hands down where I was sitting and bring myself out into a plank. So if a plank is available to you, you can do this. But for now, we'll come down on the chair. And then while trying to make an arrow with your arms, not a T, you're going to come down as far as you can and push away. Keep your fingertips nice and wide. Grip onto the chair with your fingertips a little bit. And then you're going to come on down again and push away. Now, if that level feels a little bit too high for you for any reason, we can have you turn your chair around, as long as, and I should say, all of this should be done with a stable chair that's not on a swivel or on wheels. And you're going to go to the back of the chair. And then from there, in the same way, creating an arrow with your arms, not a T. If we have our arms out, our elbows out like a T, usually that really pinches someone's shoulders and causes a lot of discomfort. It can actually hurt you in the long run. So we want anything that's below your shoulders or close to you, anywhere in between there. So you'll hold on to the back of the chair, bring yourself down, and bring yourself back up. And if you're someone who's not as experienced with that, having the chair against a wall is usually a really good idea. So let's just try out 3 more of these. Ready? Go. 1, 2, 3. Good job. From here, we're going to stay with my chair facing this direction. I'm going to sit on the edge of my chair this time, and we're going to try out some tricep dips. So there are 3 muscles in the back here which make our triceps, just like there are 2 here that make our biceps. So where I want you to feel this one is in the back of your arm. I'm gonna kind of scooch my tush from one side to the other so that I can get my hands down on the chair underneath me. From there, I'm gonna walk my feet out just a little bit so that if I were to let my hands hold me up, my knees would be right above my ankles. I'm gonna move out a little bit. Good. From there, I'm going to bend my elbows down, pointing my elbows to the back of the chair, and then push myself back up. So you want to get a nice little stretch at the bottom, and then you come all the way up. So it looks something like this. Down, and all the way up. Good. The big thing is to make sure that your weight stays back into your hands and doesn't sit forward into your feet like that, because we're trying to get into these tricep muscles and not into your legs as much. If you need to get into your legs more as a modification to be able to do the movement, then that's totally understandable. But you also don't want to hold yourself back if you are able to do it with your weight in your hands. A good way to tell is that your butt and your back stay close to the chair rather than away from it. Now, if keeping your ankles right underneath your knees feels a little bit too easy for you, like the level isn't challenging enough, what you're gonna do is walk your feet out. It could be all the way straight, and it could be anywhere in the middle too. And you're here, and then you'll bend and straighten. Cool. Are you ready? We're gonna try 3 of them all together, and you can totally modify this as you go. All right, let's do it. Go. 1, 2, 3. Good. Great job. For this next one, I'm going to actually stay facing this way in order to demonstrate first, and then I'll turn back to face you again. So a lot of the times when I'm working with people, they ask me a lot about posture, and because a lot of us are sitting even more often than a lot of us were before 2020, that when we're playing games or we're creating our crafts, or maybe the work that we do is the majority of it is done in a seated position. So we're going to go over a few things that are really good for posture and core strength that will hopefully help you out. We're going to start off by doing some seated cat-cows. And if you've ever done a yoga class, it's more than likely that you've had some experience with this. So we're going to start by just sitting up as tall as you can. Kind of pretend that there's a string at the top of your head and it's pulling you to the ceiling. From here, we're going to pull your chest through and then push the top of your thighs away and pull your spine towards the back of the chair. And we'll do that again. Pull, and if you're comfortable, you can look up to the ceiling. And then push and fold. And really pull your spine towards the back of your chair. And do it again. Take a deep breath in here. And then breathe out as you kind of scrunch your tummy together. Good. And then shake it all out. Next up, we're going to talk about our upper back. A lot of times when we talk about posture, a lot of us tend to kind of shimmy our shoulders to get into position. A really good way to check in with this is to actually bring your shoulders up, pull them back behind you, and then down. So at this point, you should feel like your chest might be a little bit broader this way, like you're very proud of yourself, which you should be. So let's try that again. Let's bring it down, and then bring your shoulders up, back, and down. Good. This should also open up some space between your ears and your shoulders. A lot of us tend to carry a lot of stress by scrunching our shoulders up towards our ears, which can be really bad for us for a lot of reasons. Sometimes people get tension headaches or all sorts of things because of this position. So we are opening that up. Next up, I want for you to think about your lower back. A lot of people have a lot of complaints about lower back pain after sitting for a long time. And sometimes this is because your abdominals want to do a lot of work, but your lower back is doing it for it because we're in this like C position. After seeing a meme go around, I've heard a lot of people call it the shrimp position or the cosplayer position when they're working on their builds. So we're going to talk about this lower back part and recruiting your abdominals next. I want for you to think about your tailbone, which is right above your butt crack and right below your lower back. And when an animal is sad, specifically like domestic pets or domesticated pets, like a dog, their tail goes between their legs. They're scared or sad or something not great. But when a dog or a puppy, because all dogs are puppies, is happy, what happens? Their tail comes out from underneath them, because you don't want to sit on your tail all the time. So you want to be able to sit up nice and proud and happy. So what I want for you to think of is that big pelvic bone. When it's tucked underneath you, it's a sad puppy. When it's pulled out from underneath you, it's a happy puppy. So we're going to practice that. I want for you to go from sad puppy to happy puppy. And those are called pelvic tilts. Ready? Go. Sad, happy. And if you notice, when you do that, you sit up a little bit taller without even changing your shoulders at all. Let's do it again. Sad, happy. Good. Now while you're here, I want for you to roll your shoulders up, back, and down. Now we're going to add on the third part, that abdominal activation that I was talking about, or engagement. So what I want for you to do while you're here is sometimes we have the habit of sticking our bottom ribs out when we want to stand up nice and tall and proud. But what I want for you to do is to pull your ribs down and towards your hips or the floor. Good. Now relax. We're going to bring that all together. Shoulders up, back, and down. Happy puppy. Ribs in. It should feel like you're bracing for the strongest anime punch that you can imagine. I'm not going to get into who that character might be, but I'm sure that if you're an anime fan, you have someone in mind. If you're not an anime fan, think of a superhero or supervillain of some kind that you're bracing your tummy for a big old punch. All right, try it one more time. Shoulders up, back, and down. And then you're going to do happy puppy and activate your abdominals. Try and just sit here and then relax. For the rest of this though, I want for you to think about that position while you're doing these little ab exercises next. Gonna stop for a little bit of tea. All right. Now we're going to take that same position, up, back, and down. We're going to bring that pelvis into a happy puppy position and then brace your tummy for that punch by pulling your lower ribs down towards your hips. From there, I want for you to hold onto your chair. You can either hold onto the legs, hold onto the arms, whatever makes more sense for you. And then sitting up nice and tall without rocking. If you have to rock in order to modify though, that's totally okay. We're gonna lift up one knee at a time. So lift and lift. Good. So you should feel that a little bit in your hip flexors, in the front of your hips here, as well as in your abdominals. Let's try that again. Sitting up nice and tall, ribs are pulled in and down in order to activate your abdominals, and then we're gonna pull 1 and 2. Good. Let's keep going. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good job. Next, if that level felt okay for you, we're going to move on to a higher level. If that felt like the appropriate level for you, then I want for you to stay here. But if you're moving up a level, I want for you to try this without holding on. And we're going to do 6. Ready? Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Great job. Now we're going to go up another level if you're ready. We're going to bring your arms up, hands or fingertips are right next to your ear. I'm just touching the back of my ears with my fingertips. And what we're gonna do is a twist. So I want for you to think about where a crop top would hit you, right around here, and you're gonna twist right on that plane and twist the other way. So when it's up like this, I'm gonna bring my knee up and I'm gonna twist my torso towards that leg and bring it back. What I don't want to do is cut corners by just moving my elbows, because then I'm not doing as much in the middle here, and I'm not hitting this like side ab area that a lot of people ask about. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna crunch and turn, kind of like seated twists or seated, kind of like seated bicycle crunches. All right, ready? Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, one more, and 10. Good. And remember, if you needed to modify, you can totally do it without holding on and without twisting, or with holding on and lifting each leg like that. Next, we'll be using that same concept with bracing into our tummy for that big punch and just a good twist. So what some of you might want to do in order to increase the level of difficulty is actually to sit further back while you twist. So I'm going to be on the edge of my seat, and then I'm going to sit back and come into my tummy. But again, if sitting back you feel like a pinch in your lower back, or you just don't feel like that's safe for you, that's totally okay. I just want for you to sit upright in your seat and do the same thing. So I'm going to lean back, my feet are properly on the floor, and then I'm going to twist here and here. And it's the same concept where I'm twisting with my chest rather than twisting my elbows. So we're going to try this one together. On your mark, get set, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Try to keep your knees still. 6, 7, 8, 9, one more, and 10. Awesome job. All right, now, excuse me, we're gonna move on to your lower body. To start off, we're just gonna do some ankle pumps. So you'll take your leg straight out. I'll do this side first, and you're just going to point your toes away from you and then pull your toes away from your face, or point and flex, or extend and flex, or point and then again flex. Good. So we're going to do this 10 times on each side. Let's do about 5 more on this one. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then the other side. 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. I think that was 10. All right. From there, after now we've gotten our calves a little bit warmer, our ankle joints moving around a bit, you can even do some nice little circles if you'd like on one or both of them, depending on how they're feeling. Next up, we're going to do some quick feet. So I'm going to sit back a little bit in order to make some space for my feet. So if you live in an apartment or you just have someone underneath you and you don't want for them to hate you, what you're going to do is you're going to sit further back into your chair so that there isn't as much weight in your feet, and you can do this very lightly. If you're not concerned about anyone below you, or you don't mind if your downstairs neighbor hates you, you're going to lean forward like this with a flat back, and then you're going to do the same thing. We're going to do quick beat to warm up our legs. We're going to do this for about 30 seconds. Are you ready? Go. And again, you can hear it much less if I lean back than if I lean forward. I'm kind of up on my toes. My heels come down just a little bit so that I can quickly shift from one foot to the other and get in a little bit of exercise, a little bit of cardio, really warm my legs up while I'm in a seated position. We're almost there. All right, and we're gonna rest in 3, 2, 1, and rest. Whew. Good job, I think. I can't see you, but I want to say you're doing a really good job. Next up, we are going to do some calf raises. So, your ankles will be right underneath your knees again, just like that. We're going to come up on your toes and bring them back down. You may find that this makes it so that your toes are a little bit too far forward, so you can just walk them back a little bit from there and lift up and down. All right, so we're going to do 10 of these together. On your mark, get set, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. Now that all this lower stuff is warmed up, we're going to talk a little bit about the rest of your lower body. And this is one of those movements that I'm actually going to start standing up for. But again, if this isn't an option for you and you'd like some other ways for you to be able to do it, please feel free to reach out and I would be very happy to help. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about a chair squat. And what a lot of people seem to forget is that if you sit down and stand up a bunch of times, that's a squat. So if I sit and I stand, I just did a squat. I'm going to do that again. If I sit and then I stand, that's a squat. So I'm going to move this back a little bit since I'm standing now. Great. What I want for you to think about before sitting, though, to make this a little bit more of a structured squat, is that I want for you to really spread your toes out and then press the knuckle behind your big toe down into the floor, press the baby toes knuckle down into the floor, and then press your heel into the floor. And it should feel like this tripod underneath your feet. From there, I want you to think about reaching your butt towards the chair diagonally. So not right out like that, and also not straight down like this onto the front of the chair. I want for you to make a diagonal line with your butt and then stand. And do that again, diagonal line and stand. When you're standing, I want for you to think about pushing into your heels into the floor. Even though your toes are staying down as well, I really want for you to think about your heels so that we can recruit all the muscles back here, including your glutes, which I also call your Mando jetpack. So we're going to be down here and then shoot off into the air and squeeze your glutes at the very top to finish to get a full extension on your hips. Cool. There's a lot more to it, but I think it's a really good place to start. So let's start off with 10 of these chair squats. On your mark, get set, and go. 1, 2, sorry for the squeak. 3, 4, 5, 6, squeeze, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Great job. All right, if that level felt appropriate for you, awesome. Stay there. If you feel like you could use a little bit more of a challenge, we are going to try one leg chair squats. So this will be good practice for balance as well as strength and all of the other good things down there. So we're going to bring your left foot out to start, and then we're going to do the same thing with this foot, grounding into a tripod. And then we're going to sit and stand. Woo, using my heel and a little bit of acrobatic skill. and then go back down. And stand. Good. If you haven't tried this yet, let's try 2 together on each leg. We'll start off on your right leg. On your mark, get set, go. 1, 2. Let's try the other side. 1, 2. Great job. All right, we are all done with the exercises for today. So let's talk about what tends to be people's favorite part, the stretches. We're gonna, again, start from the head and make our way down. So let's first start off with some neck stretching. What I would like for you to try is reaching your right arm behind your back and then clasping your left hand into it. From here, you'll pull your left arm behind you and then lean your head to the right. Hopefully you can also pull your shoulders down away from your face. Relax them down away from you. And gently come back to the center, then switch the side of your hands. If for any reason you can't clasp your hands like this behind you, you'll just reach your arm downwards and then lean your head away for a very similar stretch. So we're here, pull this arm back behind me, and then lean my head away. One more deep breath here. And as you breathe out, come back to the center. Good. From here, we're going to stretch your shoulders. So take your right arm straight out, come straight across your body, and cross your forearms. So rather than crossing all the way up here, like a lot of people tended to do in your PE classes, you're going to bring your forearms to cross. And while you're here, you can also hang out here and do some wrist rolls if that's something that you feel like you should do in both directions. But the main event is to keep this arm straight across your chest, pull your shoulder down away from your ear, and then pull this shape in together without just like bending your arm. You want to keep it out nice and straight, even if it doesn't touch your chest, to get a bigger stretch in that shoulder. Sorry, I keep clearing my throat. I wish this wasn't happening. Gently release, and let's do the other side. Pull in and pull that shoulder down. You can even look over the shoulder. Look over that. Good. Really quickly, let's go back to the neck. I want you to interlace your fingers, place them on the back of your head, and then from there, you're going to bend your head into your chest. Close your elbows towards each other. Then you're going to push your head into your hands and your hand into your head so that you get a big stretch in the back of your neck. Ready? Make a little ball and go. Then come all the way up. Now let's do a nice little back stretch. We're going to take our left hand, place it on our right knee, sit up nice and tall, and then we're just going to twist and look behind us. So you don't want to push yourself into it. You really want to allow for your body to do the work, for your torso to do the work. So you're going to sit up nice and tall and twist. Good. Gently release. Try the other side out. And gently release. Next, we're going to do a tricep stretch. We're going to take our hand, reach for the middle of our back, Then take your elbow, pull towards your midline, and then sit up nice and tall. Pull those ribs in to activate your abdominals, and lean over to the side to get a nice stretch, not only here, but all the way through to your hip. Gently release and go on to the other side. Do the same thing. Might feel a little different than the first time. Gently push your head back into that arm and lean. Great. Next up, we're going to bend over, do a nice seated forward fold, and if you can, you're going to try to bring your fingers underneath your toes in this position. If not, holding onto your ankles works, or even in your shins if possible. Excuse me. So from here, you're going to hold on, and then you're going to pull at your toes while keeping your toes, your whole foot down. You're going to pull and pull your back towards the ceiling, and you should get a nice upper back stretch. Take a couple of breaths here. And gently release, and you can come up. From here, let's do a figure 4 stretch, one of my favorites. When you put your ankle on your knee, and if you're unable to reach your ankle to your knee, you can also cross your ankles. But we're going to be here for the demonstration, and I'm gently going to push my knee away, sit up nice and tall, and then lean forward towards this bent leg. And you should get a really nice big stretch in the back of your hip there. You can also rub your feet while you're in this position, which I think is a really nice thing to do. You can lean and rub them. And gently come out of that side and try the other side out. Press away and lean. Good. Now let's get the front of your hip. So you're going to sit on the edge of your chair, and then you're going to bring your leg back behind you. It can stay bent in a 90-degree angle if you can feel a stretch there, or it can actually reach behind you as well. And then you're going to pull your ribs in the way we've been practicing, and make sure that both hips are facing forward, like you have 2 laser beams shooting out of your hips. You want them to shoot in the same exact direction, going straight on, and just squeeze your glutes, and you should feel a really big stretch right here. Gently release, and we're going to try the same thing out on the other side. And like always, different sides of our body can feel very differently. So we're here, 90-degree angle on this front leg. I'm reaching back a little bit further. I can feel a nice stretch right here. I'm going to turn, pull my left hip back a little bit, right hip forward a little bit, and ribs in. And make sure that you're breathing. It's really easy to hold your breath while you stretch. And gently release and come back to the center. Just one more. I'll do it to the side so you can see me. We're going to reach our leg forward again. Pull your toes towards your face. Bring your hands together or your arms together. Bring it over your head. Breathe out and reach for your toes for a really big calf stretch. If you can't reach your toes, it's also okay to reach for your ankle, your shins, or your knees. Let's try the other side out. Leg goes out straight, hands come up, deep breath in, and breathe out as you reach and get a real big stretch all behind here and maybe into your hamstrings even. Great job, and that's it. So if you would like more information about Geek Girl Strong, if you would like to get to know me outside of me sounding like this, I sound very different normally, please reach out on all social media platforms at Geek Girl Strong. I'm also the host of the Healthy Geek Academy podcast, which you can find at Healthy Geek Pod everywhere. We have lots of virtual events coming up for Geek Girl Strong, considering the state of the world, and I believe that the mod will be placing some links in there for you, including our Patreon community, which has a private Discord server of over 100 people who are dedicated to fandom and wellness of all kinds, and we would absolutely love to have you. If you are interested in getting a PDF of everything that we did today together, please be sure to go through the link provided in the chat so that you can sign up for just one newsletter, which will include this PDF. So not an entire newsletter, just signing up in order to have access to this download, and then you can choose if you'd like to join our newsletter or not afterwards. Again, I'm Robin Warren. Thank you so much for joining Wellness for Geeks Who Sit. I hope to see you soon.